Marie, first of all, the defense is trying to say that this confession needs to be suppressed, thrown out, not admissible, because he was not read his proper rights and he wanted a lawyer. Legally, is that a possibility in this case?
It's legally a possibility in this case, but this is really getting on my nerves because at the end of the day, confession or not, his wife witnessed this execution, this family annihilation. She witnessed this filicide. So even if, under the law, Judge Ashley, you're absolutely right. The Constitution says there's pretrial hearings to deal with evidence that should or should not go in. Did he voluntarily make the confession? Was he coerced? But with or without the confession, there's still enough here to move forward. So even if some crazy thing happened and the judge said suppress the confession, he still did that. His wife witnessed it, and I don't see why we're even going through this right now. It's extremely aggravating to me.
But I can assume the state feels like we have a confession, we're using it because that's one more thing against him. Dr. John Delatorre, tell us what it means to you that he did confess and now doesn't want that used in court. Some of his behaviors, like saying he's just super hot and that's why he's banging his head against the window in the back of the car, do these behaviors say anything to you?
They say a couple of things, when it comes to him banging his head in the car. I think it was probably more to get the deputy's attention, right, because he couldn't knock. Listen, when he was planning this out, he knew that this was the eventuality, right? He knew that he was going to get caught. This wasn't a murder-suicide, right, because he still had plenty of time to kill himself, and he didn't do it. So he knew that this was ultimately what was going to happen. I think he wants the confession in because I think he wants people to know that he did. I think this is probably more of a defense strategy that his lawyers are doing this, less that he's wanting this to happen.
So one more question for you. As a forensic psychologist, why is it that sometimes people commit a heinous crime like this one, allegedly shot down his 3 boys in the front yard, which we know he did do, but he's presumed innocent? Why is it someone might do something like that and then want to confess, want to be heard? Are they proud? I don't understand sometimes.
Sometimes they're proud. Sometimes they're attention seeking. Sometimes they want the notoriety. Sometimes they want the infamy. Sometimes I think they want something else. I think they want to be found guilty. I think they want, for whatever reason is going on in his head. And again, that would take an actual psychological evaluation to determine what he was thinking when he was committing this crime. But I think ultimately he wanted to be punished for something, but he couldn't just do something to hurt himself. He needed to do something that would, I guess, ostracize him from the rest of the community for the rest of his life. And unfortunately, 3 children had to suffer because this man couldn't do what he wanted to do.
Yeah, so this question's for both of you. I'm going to start with you, John, and then I'm going to go to you, Marie. And that is, what's the difference between this person and Adam Montgomery, who we know right now the jury's out deliberating about whether or not he murdered his own daughter, Harmony Montgomery, in which he allegedly beat her to death? How would you distinguish, or would you, these 2 defendants, Dr. Delatorre?
Yeah, I do think they are different. I think when it comes to Adam Montgomery, we see a man who is impulsive and aggressive. I think there's a man that's hateful and absolutely would be violent towards everybody and anybody in his life. When we see Chad Doerman, something else is going on in his life. There were plenty of other targets that he could have killed, including himself, and he didn't do it. He chose the 3 children for a reason. I think this was much more targeted, while for Adam Montgomery, it was much more aggressive and impulsive and would have happened to anybody. Unfortunately, it was Harmony.
Oh, such great insight given your expertise. Marie, though, I know you also have great expertise as an attorney, and I know that you have thoughts about the distinction, if any, between these 2 defendants.
I think his case is more unforgivable because at the end of the day, Adam could say, I was a drug addict, okay? What was his issue? I think from what I know about the case a little bit, he had issues with his wife. And he felt like, you know what, he wanted to maybe to reconcile. She wouldn't. And he really was targeting his wife to hurt her because he had a stepdaughter there, which was present during that crime, and the stepdaughter was not harmed. So he wanted maybe to take back his sons from her because he equated the marriage with the kids, and if that wasn't going to happen, I'm going to make your life miserable and take my seeds from you. That's what I think so far. Of course, the case has to be developed, and we have to hear, the defense theories. But I think that's part of it. He did it to hurt his wife. That's why he did it. He wasn't on drugs. He's not crazy. What the defense needs to be doing, they need to be focusing on maybe an acute psychotic defense instead of trying to hold back a confession. Because confession or not, I believe they're going to prove beyond a reasonable doubt he murders those little boys.
Yeah,
he did that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I absolutely think they have the evidence to prove that. All right, Dr. Delatorre, I lied. I have one more question because my producer made a great point. Now compare these two defendants we've just been speaking about to Lori Vallow Daybell, who's now been convicted of murdering her 2 children.
There's a lot of more delusional aspects to Lori Vallow Daybell. There's a whole lot more that's going on sort of psychologically. There's a lot of issues when it comes to her case versus all of these other cases. And again, there's not one size fits all when it comes to understanding why a parent would kill a child. There's so many other circumstances, and each case needs to be looked at individually.